Hey everybody, and welcome to the Drafting Offers Podcast, the podcast where you get to vote for each episode's draft champ. We're realtors from Southern Ontario, but this is not another real estate podcast. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, catch every episode on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts, and follow us on social at the Drafting Offers Podcast. Here are your hosts, Brad Warner, Scott Morgan, and John Fielding. Another day, another interest rate hike. Hey guys,
Absolutely.
are we bad luck? Is that
We
what's going
are.
on? It seems like every time we have to record something, we're just off the back of a new interest rate. It gives us content, I guess. Gives us
Yeah.
something to talk about.
The Bank of Canada just can't help themselves. They just love jacking it up quarter point at a time. But I'm starting to think we got some bad mojo. Every 2 weeks when we're recording, there's something about rates we're talking about. But
And it always is almost right after we record too, which makes some of the things we talk about irrelevant.
Irrelevant. Yeah, irrelevant.
It shows that we don't have a crystal ball because we are off a lot. But
That's right.
Yeah. But still use us to buy and sell your homes.
When somebody says, hey, what's the market doing? We're just going to say, well, go to the podcast, listen to the old episodes, and you'll know what eventually will happen, but do the exact opposite of what we tell you to do. Yeah, that's basically what it is. Our crystal ball is out of order for the next little while because it's summer, and that's what's going on. Yeah.
Vacation.
So congratulations are in order, I guess, or like for Scott, who's won another draft, while the rest of us just kind of sit here and look pretty.
This is just becoming second nature now. I'm just getting used to a little bit of congratulations, another crown going down at the bottom of the picture here, and on to the next one. What can I say? Thanks to the people for voting. Yeah,
great Ontario locations, though. I think we all had a couple of good travel locations for Ontario. If you're doing a little vacation, staying kind of close to, assuming you are listening or watching from Ontario and you are close to Ontario, kind of those close to home destinations. Was anybody surprised? I was actually a little bit surprised because I thought I would get more than like five.
Did you get to five? Yeah, five, including your whole family, though.
The 11th hour, I think I might have hit five entire votes. Thank you, everybody.
Strictly from Algonquin Park, I think. There's a couple big campers that really were on your team, but
I think that's all it was. I think it just was Algonquin that kind of did it there. But I guess maybe just people are not in vacation mode yet, or maybe people are too far into vacation mode. I don't know. I guess I just kind of picked the places that I kind of thought were a lot more popular than they actually are.
Yeah, you definitely picked places that you actually liked. And I think that was the big difference is in Scott, Mr. Morgan, Scott's father, he hit the nail on the head.
Do you want me to break out the text message and explain?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, for a longest time, we had trailers up in the Kawartha area, which was on our drafting room floor. So when my dad was listening, he decided to send me a text message saying Muskoka with a couple of exclamation marks and an F that, and then said, so I had to back it up with, it made the honorable mentions, but I was voting to win. And he goes, draft slut. You're a draft slut.
Which is so true.
Which is so true. And I'm guilty as charged. I'm here to win. I want the people to know that my teams are coming with some heat.
I do feel I'm going to get the W this week at least.
Wow.
I do feel good about this week. And I'm not the biggest TV guy, and I know we're going to get into that, but I feel confident.
John, did you clip that just for we need some Curb Your Enthusiasm music if that doesn't happen? Because there's a 1, 2, and 3 chance that doesn't happen.
Yep, I time marked that so that I can go back to that and rub that in your face when I come across with the W this time. I'm finally going to get a crown under my name because I think I've got some heavy hitter picks here. I'm not going to even give you an idea of what they are right now, but I just want to say that I have a pretty big list. And I do spend a lot of time watching TV, unlike you guys.
You know what, though? I think a big list might be a problem in this one because when you get into the depths of John's brain and knowledge, there could be some random ones off the board. But I'm excited to see what we come forward with. Yeah.
I mean, there might be a couple of ones that are a little bit, some of the outliers or maybe some of the fringe picks, I guess. But, I think I got some pretty popular ones. I'm not picking anything that nobody else has heard of this time. That's for sure. Not like Flipping Vegas and all that stuff.
That's in the archive for top bad pick, I think.
Hey, speaking of winners today, since this won't be released till next week, maybe we could just make a quick pick of who you think is going to win the Open, and this will be released after. Yeah, Scott, who you got?
Well, before today, I had a few picks in mind, but I like what Tommy Fleetwood's putting out there. I love his
Oh, yeah.
hair. I think he's a handsome little devil, and I think he's gonna.
Who
gonna
would you
own
like
that course?
Who would you like to see? I think you think he's gonna. Who do you want to see?
I'm a big Tony Finau guy, in all
Yeah.
honesty. I think he's just a good family man. Just seems like a happy-go-lucky guy. Him and Gary Woodland. Gary Woodland's a truck. That guy just he's a
I like Gary Woodland.
I'm a Gary man.
I think Terrell Hatton could win this week, and I think but I'd like to see Max Homa win, or at least like be in contention, or at least just play in the weekend, because I mean he doesn't usually takes the weekends off in the majors, so it'd be nice to see him in there at least.
Well, and golf's better when Max Homa's golfing on Saturday and Sunday. So.
John, you got to take on that.
Yeah. Do you think these golfers like interest rate hikes?
Going to segue.
That's awesome. Yeah,
is Tiger player?
Do you think right? Does John Daly still play golf?
Yeah. He does actually, yeah.
Mostly on YouTube, I think.
Are they affected by the 8.5% rate hikes or whatever it is now? 5% is the prime rate or the overnight. I don't know, whatever. I can't keep track of this anymore. You guys go ahead. Say whatever you want to say. We have this article in front of us right now that says home prices to end the year 8.5% higher despite the Bank of Canada rate hikes, says Royal LePage. Since Brad is a Royal LePage guy, and he's the one that brought this article to our attention, do you want to rip this apart, or do you agree with it? What do you think?
Yeah, confirm or deny.
I think that, from the start of the year to the end of the year, that's a confirmed thing. But from now till the end of the year, we don't have a crystal ball to know if there's going to be rate hikes in September or what inflation looks like moving forward. I don't think any of us are qualified to really talk about that. But I would say that we've talked about this before, but real estate is local, and what's going on in your local market isn't necessarily what is going to happen across the country. So I know in my market anyways, we've seen prices went way up for the first quarter of the year. And then since April, we've been just kind of steady. It hasn't really went up. It hasn't really went down. It's almost the median sale price is just almost flat, and it's been flat for a few months now. So will that go up again or go down again? Honestly, I think you need a crystal ball to know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think that's a surprising number when you look at where things had gotten to with the 8 consecutive rate hikes, and then seeing all the people on the sidelines rush to get back in. Obviously, supply and demand, there was less supply, a lot of demand, numbers went up. Now that we've seen 2 rate hikes, we're seeing on the front lines that things have definitely shifted. And at the end of this article, it already mentions that the numbers for June were coming in and looked lower. So that you count in June and July, we're going to get into a slower time with this summer anyways. So I think fall will be the telltale sign, but there's going to be some great opportunities. I think you're going to see a market for first-time buyers if they can get in and you're comfortable with higher rates. From things I've heard, it's now getting closer to 2025 when rates may go down based on where they feel inflation, employment, everything's going to land. So if you can get in at a lower price and be comfortable with payments, you're going to move yourself into a better situation as things go along. And it's also a good time, I think, to move up. I think that accordion of the market stretching out is now compressing a little bit. So it just might be a strategy of whether you're going to be selling your home first, knowing your budget and getting in, or if you are going to buy and hope that you can get maybe at a modest valuation of your home and get in that way. But I think it's going to be advantageous for a few people.
It's a good point when you talk about first time buyers and getting into the maybe having a first mortgage, having it like starting off at a higher interest rate. I mean, it can only, if you start off at a higher interest rate, you only have a lower interest rate maybe to look forward to. I kind of think that maybe as a first time buyer, you'd want to get in, kind of like test yourself out, make sure you can handle the payments at a higher interest rate. You're kind of doing your own stress test, basically.
Which they put that stress test in place in 2018, 2019, and they've been working on that, like knowing this was going to happen to a degree over the next few years. So I still think there's going to be some people that have over leveraged because it's natural for people to do that.
People were taking on higher mortgages, more than they could kind of comfortably afford, given your interest rate was 2% and your payment was fairly low. So there may be some people that are they're going to be a little upside down on their properties in the next little while if they aren't already. So
that'll just add to the supply that we're maybe needing as well. So
that's true. Maybe there'll be some foreclosures to buy. I mean, actually not a bad idea. Actually, maybe we can get in there and buy a couple of bank foreclosures. They might not have any copper in the walls. they may not have appliances or anything else because everybody's going to rip the place to shreds.
Yeah, a couple
If they know
upper
the bank is
deckers in all the
taking it.
toilets. And,
It's
yeah.
they're taking it. They're just
One of our in-house mortgage brokers, Stephen King, was talking about the relief plan that a lot of banks and lenders are going to be helping out. And you can basically reach out. You're extending your amortization by an insane amount of time, but it's trying to help people to not foreclose so that we can go through this next maybe year and a half. And everyone, for the most part, be okay at the end of the day and come out on top. There was a little bit of waiting to see what some of those measures are. So I'm interested to get a little more information on it. But if people are being strategic with their banks now, when it comes time for renewal, you're hoping they're not up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. Probably shouldn't have sworn the first couple minutes here, but here we are.
You meant the town, like the motel, anyways.
it's the,
exactly.
It's the TV
Two
show,
Ts.
yeah.
Two Ts.
Maybe that'll come up in the draft in a little
Yeah,
bit. Well, hey, we'll see. We're going to talk about that in a little bit too.
We will.
But if John, if you're a first-time home buyer though, and your option is to buy or rent, with the rent prices the way they are, they're insanely high. So I think still, if those are your only two options, to go find something to rent or go find something to buy, you're still way better to go find something to buy, even with the rates of the way they are, because rent is just so much and you're just paying someone else's increase in rates.
The interest rate increases are coming so much more frequently than the allowable rent increase that the people who are renting their places out right now to a tenant, a lot of them are upside down. A lot of them are not making enough money in rent because they can only raise the rent once a year. But the interest rates, so we've had 10 interest rate hikes in the last 18 months, I think, something like that. Yeah. And 8 recently, like 10 in the last 18 months. In 18 months, if you were renting, your rent would go up one time, not 10 times. So it's frustrating for landlords, frustrating for tenants. It's frustrating for us because we have to keep talking about it, and it keeps changing, and the information keeps changing. But I think that's just part of being in this kind of risky. The career for us is risky, right? Because we're kind of at the mercy of the Bank of Canada and lenders and things like that. But
I think I texted the group too, being like, I don't want to talk about I don't want to talk about the rates.
The conversation. I was like, it doesn't matter where you are, though. You could be at a party, you could be out with your family,
but you have to talk about it. But I was like, I'm done talking about it.
Just the last piece of advice for that is, I just had a first-time buyer purchase. They had more than 20% down. They just talked about their options, 3 years, 5 years, and then they did a 30-year because they had over 20% down, and they're going to do bi-weekly payments at accelerated rates. So they're going to chip those extra years off greatly. And if you're being smart about it, it's when you're over leveraging and you're just strapped, you're putting yourself in a terrible position for if things change. And that's where a lot of people who are maybe hurting right now are feeling the pinch.
I'm one of those people that wishes that we could talk about interest rates all day long because I'm that interested in it. No, I'm not. I hate it. I can't stand it. I'm with Brad, and I would rather talk about television shows. Because I just want to disconnect from reality and talk about TV for a little while. So this draft topic is something that I think I've been looking forward to. We're talking about our favorite TV show homes, TV show houses, properties, apartments, things like that. This is where people live on TV, and it's the house on the show is almost a character into itself. Like some of these houses are so iconic that you can't help but think about them. So
we're iconic, memorable. Maybe even if you were to just see the house or a room in the house, you could easily identify what that show is. I think it means something to the program.
Not the most glamorous house. That's not what we're doing. We're doing the most iconic, the one you think of. Yeah.
There will be no Selling Sunset talk today. Nothing glamour.
Did I see the wheel of names?
You did see the wheel. So where we're going to go? We're going to share the screen.
Each of our names is on here twice. And what we're going to do is we're going to determine who gets to pick the order, not necessarily
going around. It looks like, it's landed on Scott. That's a lot of pressure right now.
That is tough. I don't know where you go here. Is there a 1-1?
I feel there is. I think it's a pretty deep draft, but it's like, do you want that one that I don't know? So I would like the first pick overall, and then I'd like to see Brad go second, and then I'd like to see John go third.
You are in for a treat.
I think we're gonna
see
get
some
a couple
fun ones.
back-to-backs from John here.
Yeah.
Where
I think he's gonna have 2 in a row, so he might go a little off the board with one of them.
I think you're playing for keeps. You're playing for favorite shows. There are demos that are set up in different cities of this. Usually the coffee house a lot of the times, but I think Monica and Rachel's apartment in Friends also was Joey and Chandler's at one time when they won the bet and switched. But that is one of the most iconic buildings, sets in television, in my opinion. So I'm gonna take Friends.
That's the main apartment. Like, because I know that when I didn't really watch the show regularly, but I mean, I kind of like caught reruns of episodes and stuff in recent years. But there were 2 apartments in the same building, right? So one person, I think they lived across the hall from each
Across
other.
the hall,
So we're
yeah.
talking about the big apartment.
We're talking
that
about
you kinda see all
Monica
the
and
time.
Rachel's the big
Monica
one.
and Rachel's apartment.
Overlooking the, what do they call him, fat ugly naked guy, and
Oh,
a lot of things
yeah.
happen in that apartment.
That's the one that's got that purple frame around the peephole.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
actually
yeah.
had clients when they've sold their place, they had that in their condo over top
I've
of
seen
the
that.
people.
I've seen that in a couple of places.
Yeah. So that's first pick, Brad.
All
You're
right.
up.
I've looked it up before because there's a main gripe with that house is like who could actually afford to rent there, right? But when I did look it up, there was an inherited lease. That's how she could afford to live there. It was like her grandmother's lease that she inherited.
Oh,
This was
yeah,
Monica's or Rachel's?
Monica's, I think.
Because I thought Rachel. Anyways,
I'm not a big fan of the show, so it's,
You know more about it than we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Um,
you did look it up though. You
Yeah.
said you're not a fan of it.
Okay, all right. That was not my 1-1, so I feel like I'm going to do well here. Mine might be more. It might be more of an age thing, but mine is the Bel Air Mansion,
That was my number 2.
the Fresh
Oh.
Prince of Bel Air.
How can you go wrong with that? You've got the pool house.
Great pick.
Yeah, you got. Does it come with Jeffrey? You got
Of
Jeffrey
course,
in
it
there?
comes with Jeffrey.
Comes
yeah.
with Jeffrey, the pool house.
Carlton's
the tennis
getting,
court.
or not Carlton, Jazzy Jeff's getting
Jazz.
tossed out the front door.
With
When
the
I think
sprinkler
when I
going every
think of that house, I just think of that last scene of the show where Will's standing there, it's all empty, and he kind of has that like try not to cry, and he nods and walks out. It's a great pick. I don't
know.
think there's anything wrong with it.
I'm well aware. And interesting fact, it's not in Bel Air actually, but it's in LA, but it's not in
The real house is not actually in Bel Air.
Yeah, that's right. Because I saw it was on Airbnb at one point.
Dropping
So
a bombshell.
are you telling me you've done a lot of research on this? You've researched all these shows,
I told you I was going to win.
or
this one.
was this Kristen giving you some heads up?
Yeah, she has all the time in the world to give me that advice. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. All right, John, back-to-back
Oh.
picks here.
Whatever happened to predictability? Come on. It's
Full
the
House.
Full House house. It's the Full House house on what they call the street Girard, but I think it's on a different street. But it's in San Francisco. It's it's one of the ones apparently that's called
Painted
the
Ladies houses,
Yeah,
yeah.
the Painted Ladies is kind of along that park there where you can see it's on a hill. The house itself, so it was a studio, but I mean the front of the house is iconic, and the house actually looked a lot like it would have on the inside. So the outside of the house kind of matched the studio part on the inside. You don't get that a lot where the studio part of the house is totally different than what the house looks like on the outside or what it should look, because you got the garage. It's kind of a drive down garage. You got the main front door with the stairs. It kind of like sort of looks like it. And you can fit like 37 people in there. You got Joey and his, you got the studio downstairs. You got Joey in the bedroom. You got the upstairs with Jesse, Becky, and the kids, the whole renovated attic. I think the best TV house ever. Like in
Did you
history.
notice that it was so large though that there's 2 staircases that go upstairs? There's one from the kitchen. There's one from the front of the house. I always found that was a little odd.
Well,
when I was 4 watching it.
Well, that's normal for a lot of those houses, though, too, right?
Is it,
though?
Yeah,
Is it?
yeah.
Have you been
a
to a
lot
lot of San Francisco homes lately?
no. Well, I've been to a lot of older homes that have the 2 staircases, right? Because one would be the maid staircase.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's like
I think you just got canceled by dropping a maid's bomb there.
What else do you want me to call it?
Oh, hey, you can call it the maid staircase and the butler's pantry and all
Yeah,
these
the
other things, like-
secondary stairs, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You must still be calling them master bedrooms too, aren't you? Brad?
No, I would never. Primary suites only.
Yeah. Okay. All right, John.
have to worry-
Nice pick there. I'd like you to maybe follow that up with another banger.
You don't have to worry about stairs in this one because I'm going Seinfeld. We're going to something West 81st Street. I can't remember the address, but it's on West 81st Street. And it's Jerry Seinfeld's apartment. Because
I don't think I should have chose first here. There's a lot of just heavy hitters that are not sneaking through. This is a problem.
Jerry's apartment. Do you like Jerry's apartment or the Friend's apartment? What do you guys think is more iconic? I know you picked the Friend's apartment, Scott, but do you honestly think that the Friend's apartment?
If I'm going by my favorite shows, it's Seinfeld for sure. If I'm going by people's votes, because my affinity for picking what the people want, it's Friends.
I think a lot more people like Friends that will vote on this than they do Seinfeld. But I like Seinfeld. I do like the Seinfeld one more, but I also like the show more too, I guess.
Yeah.
And I just like the Kramer walking in the door. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't do any research on this, but I saw this thing where Elaine was talking about how she would have to find things to do because the set was so small. Go into the fridge when she first walks in, kind of thing, because the set was really small.
Yeah. What do? You walk in and you just kind of stand there at the door. You got to go do something. So you sit down on the couch. You're right. She always does that. Throws her bag on the counter, does something. They always come in. Some of them come in with food and they just have their conversation, start cutting up a bagel or something. Just salad, totally normal stuff. But that's that's kind of what you do in an apartment building like that.
Jerry had a big affinity for Superman, so I don't know if you've noticed there's a lot of Superman references in his apartment and all around the show.
I know a lot of the Superman ones. There was almost a Superman discussion in almost every single episode of the show. And then if you notice, he had a couple of Porsche things because Jerry Seinfeld in real life is a big Porsche guy, so he had a couple of Porsche things. But yeah, I'm going. So my back-to-back round 1, round 2 is a Full House on
Seinfeld.
And,
got a couple of big picks.
Oh, those are iconic for sure.
192 West.
They're pretty good.
Street.
Okay. All right, so my next one, I don't know if it'll be on your guys' list, but I thought it was a real heavy hitter, and it's the Brady Bunch house.
That's a good one. That seems to be at the top of everybody. That's one of the most iconic, I think, maybe a little prior to our generation, but I think anybody older than us would probably say the Brady Bunch house is the best because you've got the staircase, and it's just
it's the most
you can think of it
often
right away.
You see a house around here that would be the similar age, and people will refer to it as oh, that's the Brady Bunch house.
Any mid-century modern bungalow, rancher bungalow is
and
it was integral to the show as well, where it was a blended family where a lot went on. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to say this, Brad, I think you just pulled a John.
Well, I mean, HGTV did a whole series, they bought the house and then renovated the house.
That is true.
I feel like I'm almost getting 2 shows out of it.
I think the Brady Bunch house is trendy now. I think.
I don't think that's
no. I don't think that's an outlier. I think we've got some. I think we've got some work to do.
I think you could have got that one later as well. But hey, I don't know. What do I know? Just 4 in a row. That's okay.
Right. It's all you.
So end of round 2 here. I think this is easy. I think this is kind of maybe slipped by because it's not real people in the show. It is a cartoon, and it is The Simpsons house. That's one where when you see it, you know it.
Cross another one off my list.
Yeah, I think they've actually done some posts through social media. I've seen. I'm trying to remember, but it was almost an actual real home that was being sold that was identical, window same spot as the Simpsons house, but
with the corn on the curtains in the kitchen and everything.
Yeah, and with this one, it was interesting because when you're watching, I still to this day, if I had to draw the floor plan, I don't think I could tell you how there's just magical entryways and exit ways, and you just don't know. But the Simpsons house is pretty.
Can I tell you why I don't think it is the best pick? Is unlike all these other ones that have been picked, there's so many other places in The Simpsons that are iconic to The Simpsons.
Yeah, but it's a show that's been on for 3 decades, of course.
The bar is more iconic. The school, even the workplace, all those things.
I hate to disagree, but I disagree. They start the show entry every single time by pulling into the driveway, ripping in, and sitting on that couch.
That's what I was going to say. The couch gag. The couch
gag.
I think
you were just reaching because one snuck away from you because you took Brady Bunch.
Didn't have it on my list.
No. Okay, that's fair. Well, you missed a big one.
There's another cartoon one.
You've got another cartoon one on your list. Oh, I got another. I got.
We could have actually broken this down into cartoon. Have to have one cartoon, one comedy. You could have really broken it down. Next one, I'm going to be honest. This was one that I hope plays well. I think when you think of the house, No, it's a show that I grew up watching. I loved. It's That 70s Show house. I think in the basement, that's where everything takes place. At Red and Kitty's, up in the kitchen, lot went down, and even in the driveway. But I think of that show, and I think of where all the smoke's bellowing around, and they got the camera
house.
view, of everyone around. But it's a Foreman house, so
Foreman
That
house.
70s Show.
I did have that on my list pretty high, and like the Bat Cave downstairs when they're like going around the
Yeah. And actually,
it's
funny
great.
thing with that was apparently when it first started, it was obviously super illegal to smoke drugs, and especially on TV. So they would have a little bit of smoke, like you could kind of get the gist, and then by the time the popularity went on, you could barely see them because it was just everywhere.
They were implying that that's what they were doing, and some people like me didn't pick up on that for the first little while, and I didn't even realize that that's what was going on in that basement until I was like, until I went and did it myself, and I'm like, oh, that's what they were doing, because that's what we're doing.
We should do it for the podcast.
Yeah,
We'll just
maybe in April.
Who says we're not? Who says I'm not?
Yeah.
So back to me, right?
No, back to Brad. Brad is. You're 2 in a row. I can't.
You
wait
just
for
took
those.
2 there, right? Okay.
Yeah. So Simpsons, That 70s Show are off the board. So it's on to Brad.
Okay, I'm going with another house, and I'm going to go with the one in New Jersey, the Soprano house.
Oh,
Yeah.
Big, beautiful. A lot happens in that kitchen. A lot happens in that backyard.
That's the one. Whose house specifically? Tony Soprano?
Talking
Tony's house.
Soprano?
Tony's house. Yep. Big long driveway.
Yeah. That's a nice place. It looks like a nice. Yeah, I don't know much about the show. I can't really contribute to this, but
Yeah,
Okay, I looked up one thing special about the house actually, and the taxes there are $35,000 a year.
come on.
You did so much research for this. Just hate losing 4 in a row, eh?
Oh my god.
I love it. Okay,
right.
I'll be honest. That wasn't on my list. It wasn't a show that I was really. I've heard it's great. I should probably watch it, but it wasn't one that I've gotten through.
Mhm.
So I was just gonna let you have that one. Yeah, good, bad. I don't know. Maybe the people in the comments. Can
I
say
don't
what they
know if
feel
that
about it.
one's good or bad. I don't know. I don't know if everyone watches The Sopranos anymore.
Well, when did it end? It was
I feel like it's a rewatchable show.
probably.
Yeah.
Probably. Okay, John.
I'm
It's your
back.
turn for 2 in a row. You're here.
I'm here. This is one I almost didn't put this one on my list because I think it's almost too like there's been movie versions and there's been TV versions of this house. Okay, so because there's a TV version and there's been several TV versions, I am picking Wayne Manor because it's as iconic as a house, as a home gets. And you guys are going to be like,
Oh. Doesn't like it.
That's
You
a
don't like
veto.
Wayne Manor?
That's a veto over on my side.
Why? Give me one
not.
good reason.
Come on. We're not thinking that's in a different draft.
Do you guys didn't see the series in the 60s?
So I'll be honest. Like I'm struggling with
I
which side to
don't
go
think
on here.
you
I
can
need to hear
take
both. I need to
a
hear
Batman.
both cases. Let's hear both. I don't want to hear.
When you think of Batman, do you think of the TV show or do you think of the movie? And when you think of the manor and the Batmobile,
Guys, look over my
I get what
left
you're saying.
shoulder right now, and you're going to see why I picked Wayne Manor because that Batmobile right there on my shelf is the Adam West and Burt Ward Batmobile from 1960, whatever it was. So I'm looking at that going, that was the TV series. I saw the TV series long before any of the movies, long before Michael Keaton, 1989, Kim Basinger. Like that was Batman for me. That's why I picked the Batman series, Wayne Manor, as the most iconic TV show house.
it's not cool with me.
Rebuttal.
That's all I'm saying.
If I'm being honest, I thought right away I went movie, and then I think John found a loophole because he's not wrong. There is a television show that is Batman. So the Wayne Manor.
I got a couple. Hey,
If he wants to go that direction, he can. That's
So,
my call. So
what do we-
disappointed. He looked away out of disgust. He's not wrong though. I think he
It's
found
like-
a little gray area.
If this was like a most iconic sports movies or sports TV shows, and you took Friday Night Lights, like, would you be cool with that?
Same reason that
there is a TV show though.
Yeah, but the TV show is nowhere as good as the.
So, but there you
All
just
right.
said it. Like
I don't know. People don't think of it. I don't. It's not for me. But
I
it
think
is
if in
what
the
it is.
graph, I think if in the graphic we put that old like maybe like Batman with the pow, like the show that is the Adam West one.
It has
I think
to
he'll
be-
get the gist of
it
it.
has to be the POW. Has to be the POW,
has to
Yeah,
be the POW.
okay.
and it
Can
can't
it
be
be
an
a-
HD.
Can it be a boff? Can it be a bang? Can it be a wham? Any of
It
those
just
kinds of
has
things?
to be muffled looking too.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll let the listeners decide on whether or not this would be a good topic. This is a good thing. Wayne Manor, is it a TV show house or is it a movie house? So I don't know. We'll have to.
Well,
put
I
that
think
out
that's
to
going
the-
to be
It's
overwhelming.
evident. Well, so now you know
Movie.
how we felt when you were trying to say Modern Family was a real estate TV show, because it's just
go there.
clearly not. But
But I didn't get it right.
so when we did the vote, there was 3 people that voted your way and about 50 something that went that it wasn't. So it showed. I feel if you were to be voting on if this is a movie thing or a TV thing, they're going to say movie, but it technically is a TV show as well.
But I didn't get the Modern Family. So it was 50-3, let's say. Do you think there's 3 people out there that are going to go, oh, yeah, Wayne Manor, that's a good house?
I didn't think
TV
there would
show.
be 3 people that said Modern Family was. I think one was you, maybe one was a family member, and then someone who might
My
have just
family
been
doesn't pay attention.
high at 2 in the
My
morning.
family doesn't pay attention. Come on.
Yeah. Actually, there was a lot of Warners that voted for you last week. I'm not joking. There was, and I've seen a few Fieldings in there, and actually,
They're all in my corner.
yeah. Nice. On
all
that
right.
note, John,
Can I
4th
stick
round,
with-
first pick.
Am I sticking with Wayne Manor? I'm sticking with Wayne Manor.
You can't pull it away unless it got vetoed.
It's not happening. You guys both. Okay, there was one veto and one on my side. Okay, this is what
You better be. I'm going to be real hard on you now.
I know you are going to be hard on me. Do you know why you're going to be? You got a good reason to be hard on me, because I'm going. No, that's a lie. I'm going Downton Abbey. Downton Abbey, Highclere Castle in Newbury, West Berkshire, plays the role of Downton Abbey on the show of the same name. I don't know the show that well, but I see the house, I see the castle, the abbey, I see it in just about everything. A very iconic. If the name of the house is in the show, Crescent Abbey is really. Kind
You
of a
can
church.
have Wayne. You can have Wayne Manor now. It doesn't matter.
I was just gonna say, if you give John enough time, he's gonna screw it up, and I think he just did it there. You had such a strong start, John. You have 2 haymakers in Full House and Seinfeld.
It's an uppercut. It's an uppercut, but it's gonna. Hey, you know what? I'm looking at the people that follow, and I'm looking at the people that listen and watch. Thank you very much on YouTube and Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. And I kind of think that that's gonna resonate with a few of them. But
Politely disagree, but hey, to each our own.
We'll
All
see
right.
what happens.
Stan, my thing with this though is, and not to like beat a dead horse with it, but where I've liked it before is you've stuck to your guns. You've stuck to what you're like you love, and you just
You didn't
said
like
I
that
haven't
one.
I haven't really seen this show. We went
know
for the win.
I just know the building is iconic. I just know that I kind of visualize that all the time. I can almost see it in my. Kind of looks a lot like Wayne Manor, doesn't it?
And Brad didn't veto this one. There is a TV show and a movie for this. Is that
that's
okay with you, Brad?
Yeah, that's
Oh.
totally fine with me. Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
Okay. All right.
What do you got?
Actually, this one was already mentioned in the podcast, but I'm going to go with the Schitt's Creek Motel,
Rosebud Motel.
which is Rosebud Hotel, which is in Ontario, right?
Yeah.
Near Orangeville. What's the place called?
Hockley Valley.
Hockley Mono. Is it?
Just
somewhere.
ask John. John's got. If you
Yeah.
scroll back on John's Instagram, you'll see him at a couple of the spots from.
That's,
Yeah.
I never went to the hotel, but the rest of it's in Goodwood, not too far from here, kind of an Uxbridge area. That's Goodwood, but you'll see the store, Rose Apothecary, and the Cafe Tropical, Bob's Garage, all that stuff is there. But the motel itself is west, and that's in I believe Hockley Valley, which is near Orangeville. But it's not a house. Is it a house? I mean, okay, it's a hotel.
Could actually, yeah, but it is their house. That's what they've been
it's where they
reduced
live.
to.
It's their home.
It's
That's
might as well
true.
be an apartment.
Might as well
but-
choose Moe's Tavern, I guess, eh?
Sure.
If that's where the whole show takes place, in Moe's Tavern.
Anyways, I needed
Well, I
something
like
maybe
that.
more top of mind for people after going Sopranos.
All right. I like
Okay,
that. I like the
okay.
Rosebud. It was on my list. It was on my list. I'm not gonna
Mm-hmm.
even try to veto that because I'm with you there. All right.
My turn,
Is
right?
it your pick? Is it
It's
your pick?
my pick. Yeah, I got a lot to choose because those last few were not on my list, so I thought I'd be checking off a few more. But I'm going nostalgic. I'm going with a show that I think a lot of people will remember, and it's Home Improvement. I think the set of that show was iconic. I think you had Wilson just outside that back door peeking over the fence. You got Tim going in his garage working on the hot rod.
Heck of a garage.
There's
That house.
there's a lot to like, and again, I've said this before. Some of the best Halloween episodes I can remember as a kid were on Home Improvement. They had some great holiday episodes, but I'm going Home Improvement.
The fact, you get a Wilson next door. Everybody needs a Wilson. I think we all need a Wilson next door.
Yeah. Now, is this a show that you've seen, Brad, or did you do any research on this one?
No, I didn't know. I don't know the house well. I couldn't tell you what the outside of the house even looks like if you're looking at it from the road.
I don't know.
Wasn't
It's
really
just a
talked about.
set to me. It's not a house to me. It's just a set.
But the set, that's where the whole show takes place.
Doesn't
a lot
seem
of
like
things,
it's
a lot of
set.
family things went down with Jill and Co in there. She was running the show.
Doesn't give me that home feel. That's all.
No, I'm gonna do a first on this. This is my right hand and this is my left hand. Which one, if you guys pick, right or left?
The one with the pen.
The one with the pen, so
Whatever
that's
that
my
one is.
left. So I'm going to take, you said New Jersey. I thought you were going with a different direction. I am going to take an iconic trash television show that is a guilty pleasure to many, that people will Airbnb the actual place because it's reality television.
I do like
it is the Shore House for Jersey Shore.
Oh, I didn't have that one. I missed that one, but I do like that one.
Yeah, didn't even think about that.
That's
I was really hoping this would get to the 5th round. I'm very happy to get it right now, especially given the fact
John,
that the
as
last
a
three were
more-
not on my list.
as a more senior person on the podcast, I think, would Jersey Shore be like iconic to you, or is this very specific to Scott and I's age?
People who watch MTV not for the videos. So I was watching MTV if you're watching MTV for the wonderfully educational, incredibly top of the line content,
Pimp My Ride.
then you are gonna say, Pimp My Ride. I don't
Cribs.
know. It's not for me. It's a great house. I don't know. Was it in all of the seasons? How many seasons was that show?
That's true. It wasn't in all of them, but I think I would say, let's say there was 5 main seasons. It was probably, I think they went to Miami one time. And
I don't
they
even
went
think
to,
it was
They went to
five.
Italy.
Yeah.
I think
don't even think they
did.
would have done 5.
They did 2 there, and I think they did 1 where they went back to it as older people. And then more recently, the guilty pleasure show for me, more recently, they've been renting out large Airbnbs and having some family vacations.
You keep up with them all the time?
I haven't watched in a couple years since COVID, but I did watch the more updated ones where they were just having some crazy life situations because of where their fame and lack of education's got.
The situation was in jail, was he not?
He was, yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a term for like rehabilitating himself now. But,
Except Ronnie, I think
Ronnie took
probably
his
having-
place, yeah.
Ronnie's
He's,
had a tough go.
he's not doing so well, or wasn't. I don't know.
Oh,
I've never
man.
met him.
I'm next,
Brad,
right?
enough
I'm
down
next.
that rabbit hole.
I'm the same. I have so many that I could pick here,
And
and
we
I don't
spend
know.
like 15 minutes just on the draft room floor because I feel like we got
Yeah.
some bangers left over.
We gotta get rolling here.
Okay, I'm gonna go with a cartoon. Actually, I'm not. This is a pander for sure because I think people will like it, but I don't know much about it at all. But it's Pineapple Under the Sea. It's SpongeBob SquarePants' house.
You okay? I mean, if you're picking Simpsons and it's a cartoon, I guess it's a house. I mean,
He lives there.
So you
Who
want
lives there other than a
SpongeBob's
pineapple?
house?
Yeah, it's the pineapple under the sea.
pineapple under the sea. He lives. SpongeBob SquarePants lives in a pineapple. What's the triangle guy? Patrick.
No, I never watched
idea.
this.
I just know there's a triangle in the show. And his
You
name's
guys are
Patrick.
just handing this thing to me. This
No,
is horrendous.
I think people will like that. I think there's like a lot of big SpongeBob fans out there.
I guess just not my age. It's you gotta
not
rely
my
on a
age
lot of-
either, and I'm Brad's age.
younger.
This is a bad
Yeah.
pick, man.
It's tough, man. I didn't think about that. I saw it and I saw it come up and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that's a house. Sure, that makes sense too, but nobody's gonna pick that. That's dumb. It's a stupid pick.
I just picked it.
That's
Brad,
fine.
can I just ask, what were you debating that between that and
I
what
can't.
else?
Say, I'll say after.
Okay.
John
I'm
has another pick.
Fascinated to know.
My
Last but
other
not
one was
least-
too niche, I think. For
Okay.
Maybe a little.
Yeah, a lot of these are niche. Like if you haven't seen it or if it hasn't been around for that long, might not get the play. But John,
There's just so many. I'm just wondering if I go with a classic sitcom house because there's maybe a couple of them left. that haven't been picked.
One
Do I
thing though,
do
John, just want to let you know, SpongeBob SquarePants is off the board though, so you can't take that.
Darn it. Not again. As is Downton Abbey and the Rosebud Motel. Those were all heavy hitters in my opinion.
Some bangers, yeah.
So in that case, I'm gonna go to. I don't actually know where this house was because I don't know where they lived. But the salary of one shoe salesman could buy this entire house apparently. And it's the Bundy's house on Married with Children. I can picture the house. Hey, it looks a lot like the Simpsons house, I thought. Except,
Is it Chicago, I think, that he
maybe
lived?
Chicago. Maybe
He went to
Chicago,
Polk High. Can you Google Polk High? Where's that?
I want to say it was probably Chicago. I think so. But I can't not picture Al on the couch, hand in his pants, with the staircase in the background, and they're coming down the stairs, and somebody's, the dog.
Bud
or
living in the
it is,
basement.
Bud. Yeah, there was a lot of just everything kind of focused on that house. There wasn't a lot of external stuff on that show. It was them, the neighbors. They would kind of just basically all took place on that little block. And so I think the house is one of the more iconic parts of that show.
You know what you just did? You just put yourself back in the conversation, buddy. That's a great thing. That is.
I think if I was gonna go that way, there was other ones, like an old nostalgic type house like that. I think
there's
there was
so many
ones.
though. There's so it really comes down to who's voting and what they like. But
yeah,
I think he set himself up for a great pick there.
So who wants to go first? That's fine.
Well, let me just read out the teams here. Team 1's got Friends, Simpsons, That 70s Show, Home Improvement, and The Jersey Shore House. Brad has Fresh Prince of Bel-Air House, Brady Bunch House, Sopranos, Schitt's Creek, and SpongeBob SquarePants. John, Team 3 has Full House, Seinfeld, the Batman TV show, Wayne Manor. Now, Wayne Manor, or is it the cave? Is it the Bat Cave?
No, it's Wayne Manor.
Wayne Manor's in the Bat Cave.
Okay.
The cave is a cave. The manor's a house.
I guess the cave is under the house. Anyways, Downton Abbey and Married with Children. So before we get into the draft room floor, what are our thoughts on the teams? What do you think? Are you happy with where he ended, or are you
I think we've all
away from you?
We've all got some really good picks. I think though it could go either way because I think we've all got one that's a little less one that we all kind of went, I don't know. It's a pretty strong. I've been looking forward to this one. I think it's a pretty strong showing here for all of us.
We could have really done it by almost genre and had some great teams still. There's so many. It's like if you go back to the set kind of makeup, like you're looking at, what do we got here? Big Bang Theory, terrible show. Couldn't go for that. You got Frasier,
the worst show ever.
Yeah, Frasier, How I Met Your Mother.
John, do you feel the same?
Boy Meets World, Family Matters, Drew Carey Show, Everyone Loves Raymond, Will and Grace, King of Queens. There's so many of those shows.
Yeah, King of Queens was a great house too. I like King of Queens had the backyard, not much of a yard, but it had the garage in the back.
Yep.
With the
it was very similar to the Drew Carey Show house. Did you watch that with the pool table in the backyard? And they had the
pool table in the backyard. I do remember that.
And they had Buzz Beer.
Yeah.
I was a huge How I Met Your Mother fan. I just went through a phase with that. I thought that apartment was pretty iconic, but maybe not to many. Frasier, terrible show, but again, that's one you could see.
I'm gonna rip through this real quick because I got a bunch of them on here. But Brad, you're gonna love this one. Jay and Gloria's house from Modern Family.
I had that one on mine. Yeah.
Really iconic.
I had the Dunphy house.
I would have gone Dunphy house as well.
Dunphy house, yeah. I think the Dunphy house is probably a little bit more in the show than Jay and Gloria's house, even though Jay and Gloria's house was kind of that showpiece.
Yeah. More people lived at the Dunphy house.
But the Dunphy house sold. I have info on that one.
Yes.
It just sold.
Of course you do.
It just sold for $2.14 million.
Nice.
But it was listed at $2.35 million. So it's interesting. And I thought it was interesting because you would have thought Phil Dunphy could have got over asking for that, but it didn't look
I don't
like
think
it.
He sold his own place.
When you're working with Phil, you're working with a friend.
We have a hi-hat, a little bit umpone for that one.
Jane Gloria's house, Walter White's house in Breaking Bad, also Hank's house from Breaking Bad. That was a good one with the valley in the back. Charlie's house on 2.5 Men, that beautiful Malibu beach house. How can you go wrong with that? The Clampett house in Beverly Hillbillies, the Winslow house on Family Matters. I gotta love Family Matters. Winslow house and the Full House house were very similar. I think Full House was just a little bit more iconic. The Waterford residence in Hamilton, The Handmaid's Tale, the Bunkers house from All in the Family, the Jetsons house was another cartoon I didn't throw out there. Who's the Boss? Angela's house, Samantha. the Angela Bowers house in Connecticut, Lucy and Ricky's apartment. I love Lucy in New York City. That's it for me.
It's crazy how our draft, like I didn't even have any of those, but I have.
Those are the old school ones, right?
Dexter's apartment.
Apartment, yeah. Oh, so I had his apartment too. If someone went and chose house, I was gonna take apartment just to one up. That's like hiding those blood files in the air conditioner. That was legendary. Kept it on the side once he had moved out into the place with Rita.
I had the Bachelor Mansion.
Yeah.
I never thought about reality shows. Okay.
I had I'm always on the reality stuff.
I was going to say
Brother house.
Big Brother.
The Roseanne house, which I don't know if you mentioned that one, Scott, but it seemed like right in there with what you're talking about. Same with the Sheffield Mansion on the Nanny. That was the one that I remember. That one.
Sure.
And then the one that I was like going back and forth on, and I didn't take it because I don't know if everyone loves this show. But it was the Gallagher house in Shameless, because I think it's like a house that everything happens at, and it's like the house always stays the same, but you can see the kids, like if you watch it long enough, you see them like literally grow up in front of your eyes, but the house stays the same.
Yeah, it's an additional character. Like it fits in with the Gallaghers. That's their heartbeat.
I wanted that one, but I don't think I would have got the fan vote on that one.
You wanted that one, but you just had SpongeBob.
I took the pineapple. Right? I took the pineapple under the sea instead.
I think you hit a lot of the good ones there. Shameless was one. I think it's just more recent, if that makes sense. Maybe not a lot of, if people haven't seen it, might not for votes, but it's very good. Yellowstone is one with the Dutton house. I even did Suits, like Harvey's apartment, which just sold or was just listed in Toronto, but I don't think that's got as much play as it would need. Two other ones, Beavis and Butthead, MTV. That was like just rocking out on the couch, like kind of looked like the Simpsons house a bit.
Yeah.
And I think one that would pander to some, I don't want to say this because I don't want to get canceled, but Sex in the City. Like apparently, what's her name?
Carrie?
Character. Carrie's apartment is pretty popular from the research that I did, but I couldn't go that deep into pandering. It wasn't a me pick.
We appreciate that.
Yeah. I'm sure there's people out there with tons of other ones too. I bet we missed a big one.
Yeah, they're yelling at their speakers in their car right now. I mean, these guys are idiots. But
just hit us up on the Drafting Offers podcast on Instagram and give us the gears that way. That's a more effective way of getting a hold of us. I think we've just about got to the end. Does anybody have any final words or parting remarks? Because I think we had a pretty good show.
I have one question for Brad. You predicted a win at the start of the draft. Now that it's over, are you still feeling the same?
Yeah,
or is that clip going to come back to bite you?
No, I think I'm okay. I think I'm all right.
Good for you. Well, guys.
All right.
Been a blast. Looking forward to next filming and to see who wins this one.
Yeah. Check us out, the Drafting Offers podcast on Instagram, on Spotify, and on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. We hope you enjoyed listening as much as we enjoyed ripping each other up. And we will be back another time to do the exact same thing.
Enjoy your vacation, John. Yeah. It's two of us now that are taking it. It's Brad's turn soon. When's that going to happen?
September.
All right.
I'm only gone for a couple of days, but we'll be back soon to have another discussion. See you, fellas. You've been listening to the Drafting Offers podcast. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at the Drafting Offers podcast and vote for this week's draft champ. That's also how you can get directly in touch with us if you have any questions about this week's show. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and catch every episode on Spotify. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we can't wait for you to join us again for another episode of the Drafting Offers podcast.